Well, our teams are getting loose on their first events for our session here this afternoon, featuring the visiting Owls of Southern Connecticut, the anchor women of Rhode Island College, and of course, your host, Brown Bears. The Bears will get started on the vault. The beam will feature Rhode Island College and Southern Connecticut on the bars. The floor is open. We'll get a look at the Brown lineup in a moment. Here's the Rhode Island College roster. On the beam: Ivy Jimenez, Abigail Bunch, Madeline Brandt, Emma Tucker, Aaliyah Krause, and Olivia Keys will compete for points. Morgan Lunn will compete for an exhibition. Bears are coming off of last weekend's second place finish at the Ivy Classic. There's their rotation in the vault. Gianna Martocchia, Jessica Lynn, Gabby Montner, Umi Elmaman, Julia Bedell, and Sophia Dewar. And I actually think that Lindsay Yang may be substituting in for Martocchia. We'll get a look at that in a moment, because I think Martocchia was a late scratch from the lineup that we had earlier. Again, that does tend to happen in the early goings. And there's the bars lineup for Southern Connecticut: Zoe Axel, Annabelle Mills, Hannah Fitzgerald, Grace Christensen, Shreya Munshi, and Kylie City. Sarah Ortiz will be in an exhibition. City has been their highest scorer. Well, check that. I think Christensen's been their highest scorer at 9,625. As the beam is underway, that is Ivy Jimenez of Rhode Island College. Jimenez's top scorer on the beam this year. She's averaged about 9.5. She's hit 9.675 a couple of times. And it does look like it is going to be Yang leading off the vault for the Bears. Her season best, 9.475, as Zoe Axel takes the bars for Southern Connecticut. Yang's vault, she seems pleased with it. My guess is it's going to be better than her 9.475. Jimenez in the bottom right corner of your screen. Zoe Axel had a 9.25 last week in the team's meet against Springfield, and a tough dismount for her. We'll see if Jimenez can stick the side landing, and she will. Rhode Island College, the other member of the three-team competition last week, they were able to edge Southern Connecticut and Springfield College. Let's get another look at Yang's vault. Second vaulter for Brown is Jessica Lynn. Her season best, 9.625. Could argue that the beam and the floor have been Brown's bread and butter this season. The vault perhaps a little bit below their average scores. Lynn taking a deep breath. Her vaults have been averaging about 9.5. Again, the season best 9.575 earlier in the year. Southern Connecticut will have Annabella Mills on the bars. And on the beam will be Abigail Bunch for Rick. And here goes Lynn. Lynn's vault. Very nice landing. You see both of her ankles very heavily taped. And Lynn with that full Yurchenko layout, able to land well. As for Rhode Island College, Bunch, in her season best of 9.7, will get ready for the beam as we watch Lynn a second time. That was a good landing. We'll keep an eye on the live feed. So Yang matched her season best with a 9.475. That is in the books. As you take a look on your left, that is Annabella Mills with a very nice routine for Southern Connecticut on the bars. It's her first time competing in a dual meet or tri-meet. Bunch executing on the beam as work for Birch. We'll get another look at the bars conclusion here for Mills. And a nice landing, a little hop at the end. This is Umi El Maman for Brown. Rhode Island College with a 9.7 on their first beam from Ivy Jimenez, matching her season best. It's a strong event for the anchor women. Get another look at Abigail Bunch's finish off the beam. Our third competitor on the bars, waiting on the left side of your screen, is Hannah Fitzgerald, who has competed twice in this event this season, an 8.9 and an 8.4. And staying loose on the bottom part of your screen on the right is Madeline Brandt, who on the beam this season has registered close to a 9.8 with her highest performance just last week at 9.775. Hannah Fitzgerald trying to crack 9.0. I think she's going to do it. Waiting on Umi Elmaman on the end of the runway for some time. Assume will be a little delay on the vault. Seems focused on the task at hand. They seem to be working something out on the table as Brandt is on the beam. We don't have access to the scores from the judges' table. We have to wait for them to get entered into the official scoring. And now I think finally it looks like the vault ready to go on the far runway. Brandt seemingly pretty sharp. Here goes Umi Elmaman for Brown. And the long wait does not disappoint. Umi's top vault this season was 9.775 coming in. And by the looks of it, she'll have achieved at least that. Brandt has been strong. Again, her season best a week ago at 9.775. And the Rick fans and her teammates happy with it. Here's another look at Umi Elmaman's vault. Watch the landing. Not a break in the ankles, barely a bend in her knee. That'll bring us to Julia Bedell for Brown on the vault. And we're waiting on, I believe, Grace Christensen. Let's take another look at Brandt's dismount, or actually some of her action on the beam. Some good angles. She was loose getting up. Now watch this. Little hop, the turn, almost lost it there, but maintained her balance. As Julia Bedell is getting ready to go on the vault. Bedell's season best, 9.85. Attempting a Yurchenko layout, full 1/1. She knows it. Again, the Bears building towards next couple weeks from now, and they'll be at the GEC Championships. See velocity picked up and wants to hit that vault with those hands. Again, no break in her ankles. Bedell happy with it. Still waiting on some tallying of scores from the bars, which, again, we've seen a couple of delays. They're about halfway through the bars. This is Emma Tucker for Rhode Island College. Tucker did hit a 9.8 last week for a season best at Springfield. On your left is Grace Christensen, loses the grip. Christensen does have a 9.625. This is for Brown. Sophia Dewar, her season best coming in was 9.8. Happy with that result is Dewar, and the Bears with a strong vault to get things going here in their first event. You'll watch Dewar again, picks up a lot of speed, powers off the vault, and executes again that Yurchenko full layout 1-1. On the bars, that was Shreya Munshi of Southern Connecticut. And on the beam, this is Emma Tucker of Rick. Beam has been very good for the anchor women. Southern Connecticut has yet to have a gymnast break 9.0. They have one more to go in Kylie City for the Owls. And you'll watch Munshi, whose best this season was in the 9.5, 9.6 range. And there was that little miscue that cost her in the earlier goings of it while we were focusing on the vault. You know, you get around on the bars, and if you have that type of exchange, if your hands are even an inch or two off, you end up hitting the mat. Aaliyah Krause and Olivia Keys still to compete on the beam for the anchor women. That was another look at Emma Tucker's performance. The vault scores for the Bears. Bedell leading the way at 9.775. Sophia Dewar at 9.675. Umi Elmaman at 9.6. So no season highs over on the vault for Brown. As again, Southern Connecticut still trying to get someone over the 9.0 mark. Nice exchange for City. Get some velocity into the dismount and a little half step at the end. We'll see if that costs her, but it might be enough to get her over the 9. Bears with 47.975 points. Is still their second best score on the season. Ties what they registered at Stick It to the Cure up at UNH back on February 9th. He did score a 48.725 last week at the Ivy Classic. Aaliyah Krause, an all-arounder for Rhode Island College, coming off her season best as well from a week ago at 9.725. Krause, a native of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a first year. Long way from home. Come all the way to Providence and Rick. A little cross of the ankle at the end. And if that looks familiar there, that's Ella Poli, the assistant coach for Rick. Was a Brown gymnast. Was in her second season as the assistant coach of the anchor women. On the staff of Monica Messias-Nasi, who has been the head coach of Rick now for going on 7 years. Now, did I miss somebody in the, or did I jump ahead somebody? And this is City for the bars. And the last one would have been Munshi. I think that was I think I jumped ahead. A very clean routine for Kylie City of Southern Connecticut. With apologies, I jumped ahead on the score sheet. Some good exchange from the bar, from the high to the low, and then back again, up high. Watch the speed into this dismount. Fairly well executed. We have one more gymnast on the beam in this first rotation. That is Olivia Keys. Keys last week a 9.65, right around her season average. She's hit 9.7 plus a couple of times. So a little bend, but able to register and get back on. It's been a good event for Rhode Island College. And I believe Rhode Island College will have the lead one way or the other coming out of the beam with 48.1 points. And that's presuming that Keys' score doesn't bump the lowest score, which right now is a 9.35. You'll get a couple of exhibitions as well. Opportunity to get things in meet conditions. Jerry Nelson, longtime coach at Southern Connecticut. So I think we are through officially the first rotation. I do believe there is going to be an exhibition on the beam in a moment. This is Morgan Lunn of the Anchor Women. Maybe a little too much velocity there for Lunn, the junior from Rutland, Massachusetts. Lunn gets back up, resets herself. Lund will move toward her dismount. Almost lost her balance there. And able to pull herself out of it. Again, almost losing her balance. Our entire hard-working ESPN team. My name's Mike Rubin. And there's your scores after the first rotation. Rhode Island College in the lead following a very strong beam event at 48.375. Brown in second at 47.975. A little bit of a struggle for Southern Connecticut on the bars. They landed and registered just a 45.575, and their leading scorer was Kylie City. Her last performance there, registering a 9.55. Shreya Munshi of Southern Connecticut also at 9.475. Emma Tucker at 9.75, the highest overall score for the round in the beam, being a 9.75. Brown on the bars will send Daisy Fallon, Sophia Dewar, Emily Ford, Liza Marcus, Maya Davis, and Avery Walters. The 6 competitors. We've been made aware of one change to the Brown lineup. It'll come later on the floor. Julia Bedell will not compete on the floor. It will be Lindsay Yang in her place. There's Rhode Island College's lineup. They'll go to the floor with Brandt, Carson Ann Witt, Dominique Harris, Alia Kraus, Emma Tucker, and Olivia Keys. Our first competitors on the floor at all today. This is Daisy Fallon of Brown, 9.75, her season best. A good exchange. As the first pass on the top right of your screen for Witt. And on the beam, is Haley Fitzgerald for Southern Connecticut. Daisy Fallon's pumped up. Carson Ann Witt, a season best on the floor of 9.725. Seems to be executing well. Haley Fitzgerald on the beam for Southern Connecticut. Competing for the first time this season for a score that matters. And both Witt for Rhode Island College, as you can see there, and Fitzgerald pleased. Second competitor for Brown on the bars will be Sophia Dewar. There's the rest of the rotation for the Owls. Zoe Axel, Angelina Stampa, Alexa Melanson, Angel Lee, and Libby Allen in the varsity rotation. And here is Dewar. Went 9.725 last week at the Ivy Classic. Before that, her season best at 9.825. I'm sorry. Before that, it was her best was 9.45 back at the Iowa State Tri-Meet. So she is coming off of her season best. Coach Harris is happy. So is Dewar. As waiting to head up to the beam is Zoe Axel of Southern Connecticut. There's another look at Dewar's dismount. This will be Axel's second turn this season on the beam. She competed at the LIU Tri-Meet in this event to the tune of an 8.3. As Brown gets, I believe, Emily Ford up third on the bars. Ford's been good at this event, 9.825, her best. But the 8.0 last week at the Ivy Classic will be an opportunity to shake this off. As on the floor for Rhode Island College is Madeline Brandt. We're going to watch Ford. She's going to go to a high bar kip and cast handstand, to a blind half straddle Jaeger, back to a cast handstand and a bail handstand, and into a double tuck dismount in the end. Tumble pass coming from Brandt. As we watch Axel in the bottom right of your corner, and now Ford. You're going to get another handstand here. To the double tuck dismount. Ford happy with the result. So is Brandt in the top right of your screen. And we're waiting for Zoe Axel, who will dismount on the beam in a second, or off the beam, I guess you would say. There's another look at Ford's conclusion of her bars routine. Third floor competitor, Morgan Lunn for Rhode Island College. This will be Lunn's first competition on the floor in a competitive setting this season. And about to take the bars is Liza Marcus for Brown. Marcus is best at 9.775. It's that handstand. And a double tuck. Bears are executing very well on the bars. Needed some points to make up some ground. We'll take a look at the live scoring in a second. So far, Daisy Fallon with a 9.7 on the bars. They're evaluating Dewar and Ford. And that was Liza Marcus as we head to Lunn on the floor, competing for the first time to this season. Her teammates following her routine around the border of the floor exercise in the middle. Haley Fitzgerald's score is in for Rhode Island College, for Southern Connecticut rather. with an 9.425 for Southern Connecticut on the beam. Again, Lund the third. See all of her teammates urging her on. Her coaches are fired up. Morgan Lund on the floor as we go to the bottom left. That's Maya Davis for Brown. Here comes her turn. And another great finish on the bars for the Brown Bears. The anchor women pleased, the Bears pleased, and now this is Angelina Stamfa for Southern Connecticut on the beam. It was really well done by Stamfa. She didn't have much room at the end of the beam and was able to lock it in. Bears have just Avery Walters left to compete in the bars as this will be Stamfa's dismount. A little hiccup at the end might cost her a little bit, but not a full penalty. The Owls seem to be enjoying themselves. Here's another look at Maya Davis on the bars as that full somersault finish. As now we are back to the bars. This is Avery Walters. Walters does a giant double layout to finish. Does the first year for the Brown Bears out of Southlake, Texas. That's quite the dismount as we head back to the floor exercise. This is Aaliyah Krause for Rhode Island College. Krause is an all-arounder. She averages 9.7 in the floor. She's gotten as high as a 9.775, but never lower than a 9.65. Very consistent is Krause. She backs toward the corner for her next pass. With some speed, comes across. A strong finish for Krause. We'll try and get some of those bar scores when we get a second. So far, Eliza Marcus with a 9.825 as we look at Krause. Taking some pace and getting across. Eliza Marcus with a season best at 9.825. Maya Davis at 9.775. Daisy Fallon went first for the Bears. She registered a 9.7. And we're waiting on Avery Walters' score. Her best coming in was 9.775, and she just has officially gone to 9.825 for the Bears as well. It's a real good event for the Brown Bears, whose top 5 all at 9.625 or better. Over on the beam, Grace Christensen. I'm sorry, this is Alexa Melanson, I believe. On the floor, Emma Tucker. Tucker, another one of Rhode Island College's top overall, does the all-around, or it does the beam in the floor, I'm sorry. But on the floor has been as high as 9.8. She's been averaging 9.75. A little bit of a snafu there at the end, but yeah, she knew it. She knew that wasn't her. I love when they emerge from it with a smile. Well done there by Melanson. This is Angel Lee, one of the two final balance beamers for Southern Connecticut. Lee has scored as high as 9.725, as has Libby Allen, who will be competing in their number 6 spot. Melanson had gone 9.775 last week as she was inserted back into the lineup a couple of weeks back. Still waiting on a couple of the scores on the floor exercise. So far, it's Kraus at 9.725, the highest score for Rhode Island College. They have one more gymnast, I believe, on the floor. That would be Olivia Keys. This right here is Lee, who will work off the beam toward her dismount in just a moment. Is she doing a forward dismount or a side is the question. Keys, meanwhile, on the floor. Here she goes with her first pass. Hits the gymnastics end of it after picking up some speed. Now, you can't see what I see. You see Keys having fun and enjoying herself, but I can also see the rest of her teammates split around the mat, the floor, as it were, all doing the same routine Keys is doing. Keys is a native of Bridgewater, Massachusetts, a fifth-year senior. An all-around competitor. She's gone as high as 9.825 on the floor. See if her second pass can get her there today. Pretty clean landing. You saw that left leg a little bend, but I don't think that's going to take too much off her score. Good extension to the mat. And the artistic elements coupled with the gymnastics have Keys pleased with her performance. So the floor is done for Rhode Island College. Southern Connecticut still has Libby Allen to go on the beam. Here she is. Again, Allen has been fairly consistent. A high score this season of 9.725 back on February 2nd. The last couple weeks in that 9.6, 9.675 range. Allen, a first-team All-American last year on the floor. Where she was a USAG qualifier. They get an exhibition on the floor for the anchor women. Rhode Island College over on the Mount Pleasant side of Providence, Rhode Island. Almost into North Providence, which is a separate city for those of you not from around here. These two campuses are separated by just about 4 miles. Rhode Island College from here, this is their final tune-up before the NCGA East Championship, which is being hosted by Brockport, who beat Rhode Island College in dual meet competition by less than a full point. Rick finished third in the NCGA East last year. As we get Allen on the beam for Southern Connecticut, who will be at the GEC Championship with Brown in a couple weeks' time. Last year, the national champions of the NCGA was Wisconsin Oshkosh, for those of you keeping track. Good finish for Allen. The East schools, Springfield, Rick, Ithaca College, the two SUNYs, Brockport and Cortland, and Ursinus College, as well as Utica. And the other schools that compete are in the WIAC, W-I-A-C. Mostly Wisconsin of the bars, which gives them 96. I'm sorry, it pushes them into the lead by a little more than a tenth of a point. 96.725. Ahead of Rhode Island College, who is at 96.575. Both Avery Walters and Liza Marcus scoring 9.825 as the Bears made up the ground that Rhode Island College had on them following the first event when Brown was at 47.975 in the vault after Rick had that impressive 48.375 on the beam. So now Brown heads to the beam where they remain one of the top programs in the GEC. Southern Connecticut's on the floor, and Rick the bars or the vault, I'm sorry. You just saw Brown's balance beam lineup. There's Rick. We'll head to the vault with Jimenez, Keys, Tucker, Pompey, Kraus, and Green. On the floor, meanwhile, this is Abby Royer of Southern Connecticut. Royer has gone as high as 9.75 on the floor. Southern Connecticut trying to move up on the score standpoint as Jimenez will be on the vault to your left of your screen. And on the beam to lead things off for Brown is Liza Marcus, 9.825 for her top score this season. Last week, Emily Ford winning the Ivy Classic with a 9.9 on the beam. Bears ranked number 1 in the GEC in the beam. Now just behind Penn, despite setting a program record last week as Royer is done on the floor. Marcus to the dismount. The beam remains very strong for Brown. Assistant coach Sophia Hyderali is in her second season with head coach Brittany Harris. As there's the floor rotation. Ava Kelly, Hannah Zebdi, Alexa Melanson, Libby Allen, and Erica Beyer, the 6 scoring competitors for the Owls. This is Olivia Keys. Keys' best vault on the season was in the 9.5s. She averages about 9.45. Here's Coach Hyderali talking things over with, I think that's Lindsay Van Eyck. Van Eyck, the sophomore from Arlington, Mass. Who has gone as high as 9.875. Rick charging through the vault as Aaliyah Krause gets ready. She'll be the 3rd vaulter for Rhode Island College. About to hit the floor is Ava Kelly for Southern Connecticut. Van Eyck to the beam for the Brown Bears. Krause's best vault score this season has a 9.65. She averages just a hair under 9.6. Kelly has gone as high as 9.725 on the floor. Here goes Krause. As Van Eyck is on the beam, bottom right of your screen. Oh, now she occupies your full screen. Eye on Van Eyck's gainer full off the side of the beam for her dismount. Just do a side aerial into a full turn. Before that gainer full, there's the turn. Coach Hyderali happy with it. Still waiting on Ava Kelly, who's had to be very patient. There's been some discrepancy with the scores on the floor, which has delayed our second floor competitor. And that will bring us to the vault of Emma Tucker for Rhode Island College. Pretty solid. Up next for the Bears is Lindsay Yang, who will move into the floor exercise as well. She was one of Brown's better floor competitors before missing the last couple weeks with an injury. And last moments of instruction. Rhode Island College with just Peyton Green and Sophia Damiano left to vault. Green also competes on the bars. Damiano has only vaulted this season and hasn't in a couple of weeks. Last competed against Brockport. This is Peyton Green. Has competed in all of the Rhode Island College competitions this season. Reverse and almost off. You see that right foot on the white line there? That can cost you a little bit. We'll have to see how forgiving our judges are as we are still waiting for the second floor. We'll be done with the vault and yet to even have, again, the officials seem to be struggling with this floor exercise. We're waiting on another deep breath, visualization before we get to the next competitor on the beam, Yang. Finally, Kelly will be on the floor. Another ace vault for Damiano, who's back in the lineup for Rhode Island College. Well, this Kelly to your right, Yang to your left for Southern Connecticut and Brown, respectively. Yang's beam is another gainer pike, but this time it's going to be off the end of the beam. The backhand spring. Want to watch her legs stay together? Yes. That's what you want from a pike when you land. You want those legs staying together. And in fact, that's what Yang does. So we're going to wait on the vault scores. The vault is in the books for Rhode Island College. The beam is about halfway through. Emily Ford, Jessica Lynn, and Avery Walters still to compete. Lynn, the reigning Ivy League, Ivy Meet champion. For Southern Connecticut, this is an exhibition vault for Rick. For Southern Connecticut, they have Hannah Zebdi, Alexa Melanson, Libby Allen, and Erica Breyer still to compete. On the floor, that is. Emily Ford. Awaiting her turn on the beam. Her highest is a 9.9. Watch the backhand spring here. Into a layout step out. Do a switch leap split jump, then a half sideways. On the floor is Zebdi in the middle. Now a full turn from Ford. There's the full turn. She'll now go into a hitch kick with a side aerial and then end with a back handspring into gainer. Almost lost her balance there. And Zebdi continues to compete for Southern Connecticut on the right side of your screen. Here's the back handspring. There was that one little nervy moment for Ford, but the rest of it seemed pretty solid as the Bears' dominance on the beam this season continues. Zebdi will score well. And when we watch Jessica Lynn, you're going to see a couple of splits. A split half and a split 3/4, but she's also going to do a cartwheel tuck 1.5 dismount, which is incredibly high end for Jessica Lynn. Again, the reigning Ivy League champion, as you saw a replay of Zebdi's floor exercise. Alexa Melanson up next for the Owls. Ava Kelly, a 9.625, the third highest score we've seen today so far on the floor. So far, Lindsay Yang, a 9.85 on the beam. Van Eyck, a 9.825. This is Melanson. Melanson on the floor for the first time in a scoring position for the Owls. Her first pass doesn't end where she wanted it to. She kind of didn't get the height coming off the protective mat. Ended up on her backside, so she'll have to recover. This is Jessica Lynn, I'm sorry, for Brown on the left, with Avery Walters up 6th for the Bears. There goes Melanson, her second pass. Better than the first. You can see her back a little bent. There's that cartwheel that we mentioned. I'm sorry, the side aerial. Yes, that was fantastic. The cartwheel, 1.5 tuck dismount. And you saw Coach Hyderali. I'm so proud of you. You can read the lips. Melanson's floor exercise is in the books. 2 more competitors in the floor for Southern. 1 more on the beam as you'll watch this dismount. A 1.5 tuck following the cartwheel. And Jessica Lynn, the reigning Ivy Classic champion, will bring us to Avery Walters, as the Bears have been exceptional on the beam. You know, Rhode Island College had a 9.75 and a 9.7. The Bears have 3 gymnasts who have already hit that number or higher. And we have not yet gotten Lynn's score. I'd imagine it's going to be in the 9.85 to 9.9 range. I think we are going to see a 9.9 based on that reaction. It's Walters waiting. She's that all business look about her. Give you Walters elements here as she opens with a front aerial into a back handspring swing down, a split half sideways, you'll see in a moment. There it is, almost lost it. She'll do a front toss. There it is. Now into a beat jump and split 3/4. There's the split. She'll now do a full turn. Will Walters. As we come back to the floor on the right, there's the full turn. Libby Allen, an All-American in the floor. Walters concludes the beam. I think the Bears are going to be in very good shape coming out of the beam before they hit the floor exercise. Here comes Allen with her first pass. Here comes her second pass. She's happy with it. Usually tell by the expression on their faces. And a nice third pass for Allen. She's pleased, getting into the music. And I'd imagine that's going to be one of the finer scores that the Owls will have registered here today. Had a couple decent scores on the bars, but wow, look at that height. Hannah Zebdi has already gone 9.7 on the floor. I'd imagine that we'll see Allen register at least that. And a couple of the scores are in on the beam. Lindsay Yang and Jessica Lin both going 9.85 for Brown, with 4 of the top 5 scores in that event, with Avery Walters still being evaluated. Gabby Montner will take the beam for an exhibition event with one more for the floor. I believe is Beyer for, yes, Erica Beyer for Southern Connecticut. We'll see her on the floor in a moment. See what Montner does, as the beam continues to be one of Brown's strongest events. Trying to, I think, make some decisions over these next couple weeks as to who the 6 will be come GEC time down at Penn. And we come back to center for Erica Beyer, our final floor exercise of this 3rd rotation. Avery Walters scored a 9.675, a little bit off of her best score of the season. Montner gets a number in the exhibition. And I would think between the results of the vault, where Emma Tucker, I think, had the highest vault score for Rhode Island College. There's Beyer. Nice pass. She's happy. Again, the vault was coming in, was of the first 3 rotations, Brown's lowest score, and it looks like the Bears still had 3 of the 4 top scores of that event. So I think the Bears will be able to build on that early lead after 2 rotations of about 0.15 of a point, as Beyer's floor exercise comes to a close. Libby Allen just going official with a 9.8 with the previous floor exercise for 145.675 points. And that team beam score, last week they did register a 49.175, so they are right there on that school and program record. As we head to the final of our rotations, Rhode Island College will be on the bars, and that means Southern Connecticut will head over to the vault. Brown will finish on the floor exercise. There's Southern Connecticut's vault lineup: Wilson Zebdi, Kelly Allen, City and Door, Haley Fitzgerald in an exhibition. As the Bears floor exercisers, Dewar, Fallon, it'll be actually Bedell, we just got word, is a scratch. It'll be Yang in place of Bedell. Avery Walters, Liza Marcus, and Maya Davis. Don't fault the folks too much. I just got that sent up to me on a message from the floor a couple of minutes ago. It was supposed to be Bedell, but she'll be a late scratch in favor of Yang. For our entire hardworking ESPN team, my name is Mike Rubin. What a week it's been here on College Hill. Ivy League men's swimming and diving championships getting wrapped up last night over at the Catherine Moran Coleman Aquatic Center. Pool and meet records set in just about every single event that was contested over the last few days. The Brown men's ice hockey team will host a playoff game this coming weekend following a come-from-behind result last night against Harvard. They were down 3-0, came back all the way to tie Harvard and then beat them in the shootout, as Southern Connecticut gets us going on the vault with Sydney Wilson at left knee braced. Look at the takeoff Wilson has, the power coming off the vault. Meanwhile, now over on the bars, this is Ivy Jimenez of Rhode Island College. And this is Sophia Dewar on the floor. Dewar's 9.875, her top floor score so far. On the floor, that front layout, the front full. Her second pass will be a tourjete half and a popa. A round off back handspring double tuck will come in a moment from Dewar as well. Sad look on the face of Jimenez after falling, because, you know, Rhode Island College was within striking distance of Brown. Again, this is more about a tune-up for the NGCA East Championships next week. Would love to advance to the national championship with the Anchor women. The Bears will be back in action here next week again, closing out the dual meet season at home, at least, against Bridgeport before heading on the road for one more. This is Southern Connecticut's Hannah Zebdi. After a very strong floor exercise for Zebdi. Seems to be a much better back half of the meet for Southern Connecticut. Bears are loose. They're having fun. Daisy Fallon will be next. This is Ava Kelly for the Owls. Kelly has gone as high as 9.75 on the vault just last week against this very same Rick team in Springfield College out in Springfield. Walters competing in 3 of the 4 events. The only one she did not, the only discipline which she did not compete was the vault. First pass for Walters. A Rudy round off 1.5. Kelly happy with the result there. On the bars is Abigail Bunch for Rhode Island College. Daisy Fallon, sorry, the second competitor. I think I said it was Avery Walters. Fallon also competing in the bars. Look down at my wrong event. Apologies to Miss Fallon. I was going to say, it did not look like I got her first pass correct. Team getting involved. I get to watch this over the shoulder of Coach Harris. As our third competitor of the vault is up for Southern Connecticut, or fourth, I'm sorry. This is Libby Allen. Watch the speed she'll have as she heads down the runway to the apparatus. Allen aggressively and little didn't look like she hit the vault properly and ended up kind of, hitting the tape on the far end. Didn't look clean coming off the vault. As we'll head over to the bars and Peyton Smith for Rhode Island College. Assistant Coach Poley right there to help her back up. The first exchange, as this will bring us to Yang on the floor. Yang missed a couple weeks due to injury. Was one of the Bears' top competitors in this event before going out with injury. And good recovery on the bars for Peyton Smith. This is Kylie City for Southern Connecticut, their fifth vaulter, as Yang will attempt her first pass, or maybe her second. I might have missed one along the way. Here goes City. A strong vault. Yang to her next pass on the floor. Yang with a really nicely executed front layout on that last pass. You have to go out of the round off 1.5 into that layout, as the next vaulter, final vaulter of the day, in fact, is Brianna Dorr for the Owls. About to go up on the bars is Aliyah Kraus. She and Olivia Keys both competing with Yang in the all-around today. So far, Dewar with a 9.675, Fallon a 9.675. Brown Bears with the 5 highest scores on the bars. Kraus trying to put a dent in that. A nice vault. I don't think Yang was in the bars, actually. A very difficult dismount there for Rhode Island College. That was Alexa Graziano on the bars. This for Brown is Avery Walters on the floor. This will be Kraus coming up on the bars. It was Graziano. Trying to keep track of all these different events, the names, and all you need is one shift, and could throw me for a loop. Look at the height from Walters on her pass. Walters, our season best, a 9.85. The last pass will feature a round off into a double pike as Kraus continues to compete on the bars. One of the last couple of competitors for the anchor women. That's a nice exchange by Kraus and a nice finish on the right side of your screen for Walters. That was a very solid routine on the bars for Kraus, who I'm sure will be competing for the NCGA title in this all around. Really well executed all the way around, literally and figuratively. Olivia Keys, the last competitor in the bars for Rhode Island College. The Bears with Liza Marcus and Maya Davis still to compete on the floor. We'll be back here next Sunday with the Brown women host Bridgeport, their regular season finale, their home regular season finale. Coach Harris, some final words for Marcus. Was, again, consistently been one of the Bears' top floor exercisers all season. A couple of different elements involving round-offs, but we'll end with a double popa on our final pass, so keep an eye on that, folks, as this is going to be a higher degree of difficulty for Liza Marcus in the middle of the floor. Marcus from the corner. Here's the first pass. Round off into a double tuck. Coach Harris, the right side of your screen. She's in that top corner. Now she's going to head over towards the team. She's in the middle of the floor. And now over on your left, this is Keys for Rhode Island College. But let's watch both of these competitors. This is, again, kind of like a three-ring circus. Marcus springing up. Really clean from Keys on the left. Coach Harris having some fun. Liza Marcus having some fun. Big smile from Liza. Watch this end of the routine here. That double tuck somersault for Keys to wrap things up. That means all eyes will be on Maya Davis, who won the Ivy Championship last week in the floor exercise with a 9.9. Davis is coming off of, again, that 9.9, but all season she's been pretty consistent on the floor in terms of getting a little better each week. And some of it's subjective around the judges, but the 9.9 coming on the heels of consecutive 9.85s. The last time Maya Davis was here, a 9.7. Let's go, Maya. You got this out of the corner. Her first pass. A solid execution, much to the delight of the crowd, on that back handspring double pike. So far, Avery Walters registering a 9.825. Here comes Davis's second pass. Coach happy about it. The Bears looking to get at least 3 of the top 4. If Maya Davis goes 9-8 or higher, she'll be one of 3 of the top 4 scores, I should say, in this event today. I think Maya Davis is once again pleased. Reaction usually tells you all you need to know. As the Brown Bears, I think, are going to celebrate a couple of victories here today. Maya Davis getting a lot of beads from her mates as the Bears conclude a really exceptional floor exercise and a pretty solid meet on the whole. Gearing up for next week's dual meet. The GEC championships are coming in a couple of weeks' time. We'll come back with the final results when we return to Providence in just a moment. But by all accounts, looks like the Brown Bears are on their way to a W, or 2, I should say, here today. Graceful, powerful, and effective. Great day for the Bears. We'll be right back. The time meet between the Brown Bears, the Southern Connecticut Owls, the Rhode Island College Anchor Women. Great to have you on board with us this afternoon. Final scores are in the books. And, a strong effort from the vault from Southern Connecticut actually pushed them into a second-place finish over Rhode Island College, who struggled on the bars in that last apparatus. The Brown Bears with, as you could see, 194.575 points will take first. That 194.575 is just off where the Bears were last week at the Ivy Classic, but still registers as their second highest point total of the season, as the week before in their effort against Yale, New Hampshire, and Towson, the Bears managed 193.375. And they're going through the top finishers in all the events. And the top overall score in the bars was Avery Walters, and Liza Marcus tied for first for Brown. There's Liza. Liza had a good day today for the Bears. Bears had the top 5 scores on the bars, with the Kylie City tying with Sophia Dewar for the 6th best score, along with Olivia Keys for Rhode Island College. Tie for first in beam. Lindsay Van Eyck taking third at 9.825. Jessica Lynn and Lindsay Yang. That was Lynn, and now here's Yang, with both scoring a 9.85. Third place, a tie with 9.8 between Libby Allen and Lindsay Yang. And Libby Allen of Southern Connecticut also with that 9.8. Avery Walters scoring a 9.825. She'll be introduced in a moment. and 9.875, Maya Davis. We'll see her winning 2 events here today in a homecoming meet. Finishing in the top 3 in 2 events, I should say. The all-around, Leah Krause from Rick, a 38.2, which came on the strength of a 9.65 on the beam, a 9.725 on the floor. And Olivia Keys registering a 38.425, her floor score, 9.775, the top result for her. And again, you already saw the team scores. They'll be introduced in a second. I think Rhode Island College a little disappointed. They had such a strong start in the beam and did very well on the floor. But their last event, the 44.875 on the bars, allowed Southern Connecticut to pick up almost a full point on them. And the Brown Bears will win this one with 194.575 points. The Bears are back in action next weekend on the 9th, a 2 o'clock start here against Bridgeport. They will see Southern Connecticut again on the 16th at the Bridgeport Quad. As once again, you get a look at the final scores. Brown winning this one with 194.575 points. Trying to build some momentum to the GEC Championships, which we hosted in Philadelphia.